Welcome to the deep dive. Our source is a really interesting TED Talk by Maya Shankar. She's a cognitive scientist.
Right, Maya Shankar.
Yeah.
Uh, some folks might not know, she actually started out training to be a concert violinist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but then an injury changed everything, and she shifted focus to cognitive science. Now she hosts A Slight Change of Plans, that podcast.
Yeah.
It really dives into how people handle big life shifts, kind of drawing from her own story.
Which makes it so relatable, because everyone deals with this stuff. Career changes, relationships ending, things just happening out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
And this deep dive isn't about, avoiding change. It's more about understanding how we react and maybe how we can actually grow from it.
Exactly, finding the potential upside.
So our mission today, based on Shankar's talk, is to explore these three key questions she thinks we should ask ourselves when life throws a curveball.
Yeah, great questions. But first, she really acknowledges something basic. Change often feels, well, scary.
Definitely.
And she points to two main reasons. First one, uncertainty, just not knowing.
Okay, uncertainty. We all feel that. But she had some research. I found this fascinating. It was something about electric shocks.
Oh, yeah, that study. It's wild. Basically, people felt more stress facing a 50% chance of getting an electric shock than they did knowing for sure they would get one.
See, that feels completely backwards to me. Why would that be?
Well, it seems counterintuitive, right? But maybe it's about control. Or the brain just hates ambiguity.
Yeah.
That not knowing, that limbo state, maybe keeps you on higher alert. It can't quite prepare or relax.
Okay, that makes sense. Ambiguity is tough.
And the second big reason for the fear, it's simpler.
Loss.
Right. Losing what's familiar. Even if it wasn't perfect, you knew it.
Exactly. So that first reaction often is feeling smaller. Like your options are shrinking, your world's contracting.
Yeah, you focus on what's gone, what you can't do anymore. But Shankar flips that script. She argues that these unexpected changes, they can actually spark, real internal change, deep change, leading to growth, expansion maybe.
Expansion? How so?
Well, in terms of what you discover you can do, what you find important, even how you see yourself, it can really shift things internally.
Okay, that leads perfectly into her first question then. It was inspired by Christine Hawes' story.
That's the one. The question is, how might this change what you're capable of?
Right. And Christine Haw, remind us.
Here, she was really passionate about cooking, wanted to make it her life. But then she lost her vision pretty young, around 24, an autoimmune disease.
Oh, wow. That's devastating, especially for a cook.
Absolutely. And Shankar tells this story about how early on, even making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich felt overwhelming, defeating.
Oh, man. I can just picture that feeling. Something so simple suddenly feels impossible. You'd feel so limited.
Totally.
Yeah.
But Christine, she didn't give up. She had to figure out new ways. She started relying way more on her other senses, smell, sound, touch, things she hadn't focused on quite so intensely before.
So out of necessity.
Exactly. It started as just needing to feed herself, but it turned into this challenge she actually got excited about. Cooking became multisensory in a whole new way for her.
And didn't she go on MasterChef?
She did. First blind contestant ever. And she won.
Incredible. Just incredible. What a story.
It really shows Shankar's point, doesn't it? These unexpected limits, they can force you to find strengths you never knew you had, to develop new capabilities.
It connects to that idea, I think it was Dan Gilbert, about how we underestimate how much will change.
Exactly. Gilbert's research shows we tend to think our current self is like the finished product. We don't anticipate how much we'll adapt and evolve, especially when we have to.
It's like we have this end of history illusion about ourselves.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But you're facing the challenge down the road.
Yeah.
That you'll likely be different, more resourceful maybe.
And Christine Hackby today, she's not just cooking, right?
Oh, far from it. She's a world-renowned chef, owns restaurants, The Blind Cook they're called. And get this, she snowboards and rock climbs too.
No way. That's amazing. Talk about capabilities.
And the most striking thing, Shankar mentions Christine reflected she might not even want her vision back now, except maybe for a quick peek at Justin Bieber.
Huh. Seriously, that says so much about how her values and perspective shifted because of the change.
It really does. It's a powerful example of gaining something profound through loss. Which brings us nicely to Shankar's second question. This one was inspired by Florence Williams, a science journalist.
Okay, Florence Williams, what was her story?
Hers was about heartbreak. She found out through an email that her husband was having an affair. It ended their 25-year marriage.
Oof, 25 years. That's brutal.
Yeah. She described the feeling as visceral. like being plugged into a faulty electrical socket. Just this raw, physical shock.
I could only imagine. So how did she approach that?
Well, being a science journalist, she kind of treated it like a problem to solve. She made a year-long plan. Solo trips, different therapies. She even visited the Museum of Broken Relationships.
Trying to find the cure for heartbreak, basically, looking for closure.
Exactly. She was really aiming for that sense of resolution.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't quite work like that. None of it really healed the core wound in the way she'd hoped.
So the solve it approach didn't pan out.
Right. And that led her to a really interesting shift. She started wondering, maybe a broken heart isn't actually a problem to be solved in the traditional sense. And maybe chasing closure isn't always the most helpful goal.
That's a big thought. We're so conditioned to seek answers, to fix things.
And Shankar connects this to Dacher Keltner's work on cognitive closure. The idea is if you can kind of relax that need for definite answers, for everything to be tied up neatly.
You open up space for other things?
Yeah. Keltner suggests it actually expands your capacity for things like joy, awe, appreciating beauty. Florence realized her own goal-oriented nature might have been, ironically, getting in the way of healing.
So the change, it changed what she valued. From finding answers to...
What? To maybe finding value in the unknown, in the present moment. She talked about hiking, how she learned to just enjoy being there, the stillness, not just focusing on getting to the top, letting go of those rigid 5-year plans.
A shift from destination to journey, almost.
Kind of, yeah. Less about solving, more about experiencing and being open. The end of her marriage forced a reevaluation of her core values. And, the postscript is she's actually in a happy new relationship now.
That's great to hear. Okay, so that was question 2. How might this change what you value? What's the third one?
The third question comes directly from Shankar's own experience with her violin injury. How might this change how you define yourself?
Back to her story. Losing the violin must have been huge for her identity.
Totally. It wasn't just losing an activity. The violin was her identity for so long. She felt completely lost without it. She calls it identity paralysis.
Identity paralysis.
Yes.
That makes sense. When the thing that defines you is suddenly gone, who are you?
Exactly. It throws your whole sense of self into question.
Yeah.
But she had this realization. Maybe she'd anchored her identity to the wrong thing, to something too specific, too fragile.
Like the instrument itself rather than something deeper.
Precisely. She reflected on why she loved the violin. And it wasn't just the playing. It was the connection it created with people. She remembered playing for others as a kid, that feeling of shared emotion through music.
So the core thing wasn't violinist, it was connecting with people through shared feeling or something like that.
Right. A much broader, more fundamental value. So now she tries to define herself less by her specific roles, scientist, podcaster, and more by those underlying drivers. Her love of human connection, understanding people.
Defining herself by the why behind the what.
Exactly. It's a more resilient foundation for identity, isn't it? Because the what can change unexpectedly, but the why might be more constant.
That feels much more stable. And is she applying this now? You mentioned she's facing challenges.
Yes, she's been open about her difficulties in becoming a mother, dealing with pregnancy losses, a really tough, ongoing situation.
Yeah, incredibly tough.
And she says she's actively using these questions to navigate that, especially the identity one. She's consciously trying to broaden her definition of what parenting might mean, finding fulfillment in other ways, rather than getting stuck on one specific outcome or identity, like mom.
So loosening the grip on that specific label gives her more freedom.
That's how she describes it, a sense of freedom and even possibility despite the difficulty. It's a powerful, real-time application of her own framework.
Wow. Okay, so those are the 3 questions. Let's quickly recap them.
Sure. First, how might this change what you're capable of? Think Christine Haw.
Right. Second, how might this change what you value, like Florence Williams letting go of just needing closure?
And third, how might this change how you define yourself? Like Shankar moving from violinist to her core why.
Got it. And the big picture here is, well, change is hard. It often feels like loss initially.
Definitely. Don't want to minimize that.
But it also holds this potential for discovering new strengths, maybe shifting what's important to you and finding a deeper sense of self.
Exactly. It's not about pretending change isn't painful, but about looking for the openings it might create for internal growth.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Think about a change you've gone through, or maybe one you're in right now.
Yeah.
Which of these three questions feels most relevant? What might happen if you sat with that question for a bit? What could it unlock for you?
It's an invitation, really, to approach change with a bit less fear, perhaps, and a bit more curiosity about who you might become.
Great perspective. Thanks for digging into this with us today. Hopefully, that gives you all some useful ways to think about navigating life's inevitable shifts.